Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a gentleman that was going through a tough time in his relationship and felt that to use his language, he'd lost his mojo, he'd lost his confidence, his self-belief, and that feeling of being in control and being strong. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is an element of dissociated regression and then associating into that resourceful state while also creating an anchor to access that particular feeling within the context that it would be most useful in his actual life. One of the key things that can happen, and it's a big belief system of mine, is that people have quite often a belief system that you get what you deserve, that if you do good in the world, good things happen. And while that's a very useful, powerful belief system, I think another very powerful belief system is that you get what you tolerate, not necessarily what you deserve. And why that's important is because it's very easy to find yourself in a victim role and try and blame other variables, so other people, other situations, whatever it might be. But if you have the belief system that you get what you tolerate, it then encourages you to have clarity of boundaries and to have consequences if those boundaries are overstepped. And that might mean doing things that aren't naturally in your interest. You know, if you love someone and they treat you in a way that is not desirable, the consequence doesn't necessarily have to be that you leave that person, but it might mean that there needs to be a very clear conversation about what is acceptable and not acceptable within that context. If someone is consistently being disrespectful or rude, or for men in particularly, emasculating them or belittling them in some way, quite often what happens is the man will lose a part of themselves, which means that both parties lose. The man doesn't feel as strong, but the woman also loses the qualities that she probably desired at some point in that man. So this hypnosis session, although it's created for a man, I think it would be helpful for anyone that feels like they've lost that confident version of themselves. So although you might hear the word masculine in this hypnosis session, if you're a woman listening to this and you want to tap into you at your most confident, you at your strongest, just replace masculine with confident or strong, and it will still be useful for you. So the ideal thing to do to get the best out of this session is to find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of tension, stress, or worries to leave your body in your outward breath. That's it. As you breathe in and breathe out, just notice where in your face you're feeling any form of tension. That could be in your forehead, around your eyebrows, in your jaw, back of your head. But I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a bright red helium balloon. Maybe you can imagine a child with that balloon on a string, and you can just see that helium balloon just floating there. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine that you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation that almost feels like it's inflating your head with helium. That it doesn't require effort to keep your head raised. The tension around your neck and your shoulders doesn't need to be there because it's almost like your head is floating above your shoulders. As you exhale, feel like tension, stress, any worries leaving your body, giving you a sense of feeling more and more calm, more and more relaxed. That's it, release that tension in your eyelids, in your jaw, feeling like you can breathe deeper and deeper. That's it. Arms feeling heavier, limp loose, that's it. And really feel like there's two specific things that are leaving your body. Breathe in this resourceful feeling when you breathe in, but when you exhale, I want you to feel that any anger or resentment is starting to leave your body in your outward breath. The more that you learn from the past, the more difficult it is to feel angry. People are reasonable when they have reasons. And you had reasons, good reasons for doing what you did. But good reasons don't necessarily mean for a good strategy or a good plan. And now that you know better, you can do better. So I want you to take all the value, all the wisdom from the past, and to give yourself the forgiveness that you need. Allow that anger, that resentment to leave your body as you breathe out. And I want you to feel a feeling of calmness going in. Calmness and composure. There's been a time in your life that you were unflappable, unfazed, dealing with intense stress, harsh words, and yet you can be calm and composed, perhaps with a wry smile, knowing that nothing is going to shake you, nothing is going to faze you. I want you to imagine seeing yourself from the past. Maybe a time when there was a place that you used to hang out. I want you to observe yourself at a time in your life where your confidence, strength, and your masculine energy was at its highest. I want you to observe yourself almost like with the posture and mannerisms of a superhero. Unfazed, unbothered. Chaos could be around you and you wouldn't flinch. And when you can see yourself at a time in your life where you had more strength, more confidence, more composure than any other time, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine you're there, standing in front of that version of you, and I want you to mimic them. Mimic how they breathe. Maybe they're breathing nice and slow from the diaphragm. They look strong, but they look also very relaxed. So just mimic that relaxation, allowing any tension to leave your body. I want you to mimic the facial expressions. When someone's strong and confident, they don't need to fake that. It's written all over their face. So I want you to mimic that facial expression of strong confidence, a sense of certainty, inner knowledge, a feeling that you can handle whatever life throws your way, but also a willingness to set and enforce boundaries in your life. I want you to imagine you're observing that version of you with an attractive woman. And I want you to imagine seeing that attractive woman trying to belittle, criticize, or emasculate that version of you from the past. And I want you to observe how that version of you handles that situation. Is he trying to explain himself? Is he apologizing? Is he getting defensive or angry? Or is that version of you when you were at your strongest and most confident, holding all the cards, unfazed, almost laughing, but equally willing to walk away, willing to do something that communicates that this version of you will not tolerate disrespect, contempt. And when you can see that version of you having strong boundaries, protecting that mojo, that confidence, that swagger, just let me know by nodding your head. Then I want you to imagine stepping into that version of you, adjusting your breathing, your posture, your body language to mimic that version of you. And I want you to scan in your body where you feel that strength, feel that confidence. And I want you to feel how full you feel. No feelings of hollowness. You feel full, strong, confident, willing and able to handle anything. And I want you to imagine that same woman trying their hardest to belittle, to criticize, to take away your power, and almost feel yourself starting to smile like, nice try. It's not going to work with me. Tap into that feeling and find out where in your body you feel that strength, that confidence, that composure. Feel like it's glowing, getting bigger, stronger, rippling to every cell in your body. And then I want you to imagine that this woman is changing to a woman that now has the ability to push your buttons. I want you to see them at the age they are now. Hear them saying the words, but I want you to feel like you're surrounded by a force field. You're tapping into this strong feeling of certainty and inner strength, calm and composure. And I want you to evaluate, not react. Hear the words, process the words, figure out what's going on. And now is not the time to have the boundaries or the consequence, just to learn what's being said. Because there are so many ways that you can deal with a situation like this. You could be unfazed, calm, but you could also be curious. But notice that your calmness and composure is a strength. No desire to be triggered, no desire to be aggressive, defensive. Your inner dialogue is slow and calm and composed and interesting. Maybe your words are curious. That's an interesting take. Where did that opinion come from? Not in a passive-aggressive way, not in a malicious way, not in an aggressive or defensive way, but curious. And then I want you to see this person almost look panicked. The face where they're losing control, and I want you to imagine they're trying every trick in the book to try and push your buttons. Saying hurtful things, bringing up things from the past, bringing up things that aren't fair, aren't justified, And I want you to interpret that desperation as a sign that you're taking back control. That you're filling that hollow feeling with a feeling of fullness. That your refusal to lose control gives you control. Your refusal to be weak makes you strong. I want you to remember that the smallest, weakest dogs bark the loudest, and the strongest, biggest dogs don't need to bark at all. I want you to get a sense that just knowing who you are, reminding yourself of who you are, is more than enough to get your strength back, to get your purpose back, to get your self-belief back. See them trying harder and harder and harder to push your buttons. And the harder they try, the more stronger you become. And eventually I want you to notice that something changes. When someone figures out that the button doesn't switch the light on, they stop pushing that button. I want you to observe once they evaluate. They can't trigger you into anger. They can't trigger you into an apology or a justification. You see something in their eyes that makes them be reminded of what they saw in you to begin with. And again, you don't need to respond or reward to that, but just see it, know it, and feel it. And if you're getting a sense that you're reconnecting with all of these resources, just like a bike, you never forget how to ride it. And you can't unlearn how to be confident and strong and masculine. You can't unlearn it. It's always there. All you're doing is reconnecting with it. And when you reconnect with it, you can then refine it, polish it, and integrate it into who you are now. I want a word to come into your mind that encapsulates this feeling. Maybe that word or phrase starts with I am, and then see what word follows. Feel that feeling, maybe in your chest, your heart, your gut. Feel this feeling, say those words. Breathe this way, have this posture, and this feeling will come flooding back whenever you need it. And if your unconscious mind feels confident that you can access this confidence, you can access this inner strength, and you can treat the last few years as reconnaissance to learn what you now need to do to prevent this kind of thing happening again in the future, just let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to place one hand on the location where you feel this inner strength, this confidence, this masculine energy. Feel it expanding. And I want you to accept the suggestion that whenever you put this hand in this location, breathing this way, saying that phrase, I am, and maybe it's I am strong, I am confident, I am calm, whatever it is for you, whenever you say that, by putting your hand here, you will reactivate this feeling. And then I want you to return to the present, taking all of these wonderful resources with you, knowing you can activate them whenever you want, almost looking forward to playing the role of the observer in your own life, to gather the information required to create a line in the sand. People do not get what they deserve. They get what they tolerate. And you are unlocking all of the resources to raise your standards, to enable you to tolerate nothing less than you deserve. Returning to the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're returning fully in the present as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.